All right, Bills Mafia. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Obviously, the good guys went down to Houston and took a L 23-20, falling to 3-2 on the season. And one of them ones, man. Weird because we weren't playing the best, but in the end, still had a chance to get up out of there, or at least going to overtime. But just across the board, man, a lot of just bad stuff going on, man, in terms of decision wise and some of the on field stuff, man. So hit that like button one time and don't forget to subscribe if you are new to the channel. Starting offensively, man, we know in terms of Josh, man, it starts and ends with him. He is the guy that kind of leads us. He is the guy that leads us. We know this. I thought at times, man, he had his moments where you could see some of the explosive plays, you could see some of the leg usage, but at the same time, I don't know, man. I feel like we're missing some playmaking out there, man. We need, an additional piece at times, but it feels. But at the same time, I do like what I'm seeing from Josh in the sense of his decision making, regardless of how crazy the game feels at times. And yesterday's game felt kind of weird at times, right? I think it was 20-3 at one point. But instead of Josh, reverting back to the old way of being a gunslinger and really putting the ball in harm's way a lot more, I thought that yesterday he did a better job of just staying within the offense and ultimately not making too many crazy decisions. Now we know he had one or two of them things that could have been picked, man. Alshire, yeah, right around that halftime mark, man. Yeah, it was a couple ones where like, yo, that's a little bit too aggressive. We don't need that, but did work out. He did not have a turnover. Another week of clean football from Josh. But we obviously know, man, 9 of 30, 131 passing yards. Yeah, we need and we want a lot more of that, or a lot more than that. But with all that being the case, and with, like I said, our receivers not really having the most productive day, we still were in position with this game tied to send it to overtime at the least. I mean, obviously, we're trying to be a little bit aggressive, and that kind of came back to bite us in the butt. Big reason why we were unfortunate in terms of getting up out of there with a victory. But we'll get to that in terms of some of the situational decision making and stuff like that, man. But I did think that James Cook, man, I did like what I saw with him, man. 20 carries, 82 yards on the ground, had that touchdown as well. He continues to look good. Had a couple catches as well of the backfield. He's one of those guys, man. I feel like when we continue to play through him at times, man, it takes some of that pressure off of Josh, but it really makes defenses have to pick their poison. Now, problem is, we need to be winning a little bit more of our one-on-ones, whether we're talking our tight ends or our outside receivers. I just feel like we're still leaving some production out there. And I understand, man, they're not all going to be the greatest in terms of creating tons of separation and things like that. But what I'm referring to is the handful of passes that we see are hitting these guys in the hands. We need those to be pulled in. We obviously know we're missing Khalil Shakir, and when he comes back, that's a big, added element to this offense. But regardless of that, these other players that we have out there, man, when that ball is getting to you, we got to complete those things, man, because that's going to keep this offense moving. I mean, third down wise, we were really, really bad. I think we ended up being like 3 of 12 or 3 or 14, I think it was, on possession downs. That's not going to cut it at this level. We obviously gave up the explosive play as well, man, to Nico Collins. I did like what I saw from a defensive standpoint in terms of creating the turnovers, though. We obviously had the interception, and we turned around and had the forced fumble as well on CJ Stroud, man, recovering that 2 times, man. We're able to get that ball back, man. That's significant. That's a big reason why we can be as stagnant as we were at times offensively, but still find a way to kind of hang around. And we obviously know when you have a Josh Allen, all it takes is one play, man, 1 or 2 plays, and now boom, the Keon Coleman 49-yard touchdown. We back. So definitely like that, man. But a couple, like I said, the things that I feel like we definitely just got to do a better job of, and to have in the game clock management. Bad sequence of events, man, prior to the halftime. Just not running the ball enough, not utilizing some clock, and putting the Houston Texans in a position where they felt as if they would need to use the clock. And ultimately, that gave them opportunity to go down and get more points. End of the game, we saw how that played out, right? We get the stop, they punt it to us, we're inside our own 5, and I don't mind the being aggressive, wanting to throw the football. But we do still need to be a little bit more situationally aware that yo, we can run at least one play to make that clock run. So now we kind of have this, back and forth ability of, hey, if it doesn't work out, they won't have any time also remaining to get that field goal attempt off. So like I said, man, I don't hate the two pass attempts. I don't mind if it was the first two plays are pass attempts and that last play is a run. But you have to do something in my eyes to make Houston either have to use that timeout or allow that clock to run out, because we saw the flip side, 3 errant passes or 3 incomplete passes. We punt that football, they get a completion, timeout, boom, field goal, game over, right? So that's the type of stuff that if we're talking about going forward, how do we win some of these games while we're still figuring out the little details of our offense, the division of labor, so to speak, when we're talking about just the roles of who's going to step up more so, how do we want this offense to be geared, or is it a situation where you look at a Devontae Adams situation? We obviously know we've been linked to him a little bit since he's his official trade request. Maybe that's something that we consider, because to me right now, offensively, I do feel like the lack of playmaking out at the receiver position is kind of hurting us these past 2 games, and I think that we're kind of seeing the blueprint for how to defend us. Allow James Cook to kind of have some success, but force Josh to have to put that cape on and decide if he's willing to put the ball in harm's way or not, because our receivers right now, in my eyes, I just don't think they're generating enough separation, along with not making enough combat or contested catches. And I think that those are some of the things that we're going to have to get just a better feel for, having more success in those areas in order for the Bills to get back to where we want them to be, which is dominating. All right. But like I said, those are my thoughts on this Texans matchup, man. But hey, beauty of the NFL is you don't get no weeks off, man. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. You know what we got next week, man. So with that being the case, let me know your thoughts on the performance, man, and what you expect to see from the good guys going forward. But either way, don't forget to hit that like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel. And until next time, just remember, don't nobody circle the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.